So what if I told you a complete noob could achieve one of the highest ranks in the game with next to 0 experience in any hero shooters? Well, that noob is me. And now granted, I might not have a ton of experience in hero shooters. I have made some pretty crazy accomplishments in other shooters that I played. And I've seen this game everywhere, everybody's playing it right now, so that gave me the bright idea to test my skills and see just how far we can make it into their rank system. And to be 100% honest, we made it way further than I even thought we were going to. And no matter if you're watching this video for pure entertainment or to learn for your journey yourself, I'd greatly appreciate if you enjoy the video to leave a like and subscribe down below. And now let's get right into the video. Day 1. Alright, so first things first, obviously I had no idea what the heck I was doing. I was way in over my head, so what better thing to do than the tutorial? And honestly, the tutorial is really not bad in this game. It's pretty straight to the point, it's pretty simple, it gives you all the basics of the abilities and whatnot. Also, got the pleasure of mowing down some targets with a big ass minigun. And after we got done with the tutorial, the next step was to obviously go into the firing range, try to test them out, and as any other normal person, had to, of course, mess around with Spider-Man. And as I was in the firing range, I really had a lot of issues finding a perfect sense. I don't know if it's just me or if it's everyone, but it was really rough until I finally found a perfect sense. It feels like there's extra turning. Actually, it feels like I have huge dead zone. And this is the sense right here. 180, 180, 0100. And then obviously you can see the rest. That's what worked best for me. I'm sure it's different for everybody, but it took me a long time to work out that really awkward feeling that I had in the sensitivity in this game. With that being said, I still had no idea what role I wanted to play or the character in these roles I'd want to play. There are 3 roles: Strategist, which is the healer, Duelist, which is DPS, and Vanguard, which is basically the tank. Which sparked the idea of heading to the pick rate site, and I looked under the highest rank, see who was the most common, and I tried to dictate which one had the better pick rate, gauging like obviously the lower pick rates have a good chance to be higher win rate, but also I had to throw in the thing there is bans in the higher rank. Sorted it out, and that's how I found Doctor Strange. He is currently been sitting at number 1 on the board. I did, however, try out a couple different legends or characters just to make sure, but ultimately for my first game I ended up going back and picking Doctor Strange. Now don't get me wrong, he is definitely a crucial role in the process later on in this video. But to start out, let's just say there was a little bit of a learning curve for me, as you're seeing right here with the portal. I had literally no idea what I was doing. Oh my god, what did I just do? Oh my god, bro. I couldn't figure out how to use it, bro. It wasn't letting me. And although the queue times were really fast, which helped honestly a ton, it was super beneficial, I was still struggling. I ended up trying Spider-Man again, which, well, as you can see here, didn't quite go as planned. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, bro. Hardest character in the game on his 3rd game, bro. Dude, what the fuck? I tried him in the range, too. I did not see a triangle. And I even went and tried a healer, but then ended up getting just absolutely bullied by Captain America. But I did have, out of all this negative, I did have a huge chef play, which I was super hyped about right here. Yo, what the fuck? I just threw their whole team off the map. And all in all, we still won a vast majority of the game, so I can't be too mad for this first little session. That was definitely my And to wrap up day 1, we won 7 out of 11 games, which isn't too bad. Here's the stats of the characters I played. I definitely played the most Strange. You know, I messed around with a lot of people, obviously. I messed around with a decent amount, even though definitely didn't go the greatest. But then I had the bright idea, after today, I definitely needed to learn more, so I decided to look down through the leaderboard. I did this to hopefully get some tips on, like, who's more common in the higher ranks. Now, granted, I know I'm in such a, like, I'm literally bronze 3, you know what I mean? So, like, I had a lot to learn, I had a lot to pick up on. So I also wanted to do this to watch how they played the characters, because obviously this is a hero shooter, you're meant to play as a team. I'm not going to have teammates nearly as good as them for quite as a while, obviously, but I still wanted to see, like, what the proper way to use it was. Like, I know there's cancellations, I know there's, you know, healer things that you're supposed to do, like healing counters, you know. I didn't know that at the time, so that's why I was looking down through, which then leads us into day 2. Dun dun. Alright, so we start off day 2. I decided to go into the range session, try to get my aim warmed up, and this is probably going to be a common thing every day, just because, I mean, in order to improve, you got, you know what I mean, just doing the basic stuff. Anywho, did try out a little bit of Magneto, because, you know, there's a lot of characters. I want to try to learn counters, how to, you know, strong suits of characters, you know, etc, etc. Then we got to level 10, which was huge, because that means we can finally start the rank journey. And I'm sure everybody knows, but just in case you don't, there's 2 different game modes. There's a capture the point style game mode, and then there's moving the payload style game mode. I'm sure everybody knows that, but just in case you don't, those are the 2 game modes. With the rank journey officially beginning, we started to win back to back. Not many losses. Only confusing part is even with all the wins, I never got MVP. Like, I started to get it a little bit later on, but I was kind of concerned. I thought it was me, but then again, like everyone in chat said, it's lower rank lobbies, so it's just super random. You know, teammates are all bad, all newbie, no one knows what they're doing, so I just kind of chalked it up to that and kept going. As long as we're winning, I ain't really complaining. But with all the losses that I did have, because I definitely lost some too, of course, the vast majority were to my teammates leaving. I didn't really understand it, to be 100% honest, but we would literally be up 3, and like we would get to the end in the payload, and then the next round would start and the dude would leave. Like, I have no idea. Or people would go AFK, or leave, like, you know, leave the match entirely, or just, you know, throw on purpose. Like, it was really weird. And but with all that being said, we did manage to hit good old bronze 1. And of course, Kat felt left out, so she had to come say hello. And then to finish off day 2, we ended silver 3, which really isn't the greatest, but like for all the craziness today, I'll take it. Not much learned today. The lobbies are pretty easy, pretty laid back, you know what I mean? So not too much to take from it, but we'll definitely take it for day 2. Day 3 and 4. So today is the day that a couple people in chat had me go to range and try to fix some things about my character selection, because the 8 hours I played, I was still stuck in silver 2 from day 3, and my teammates were not helping me whatsoever. Plus, I was made aware by chat that I was still playing on 60 FPS. There's no way I've had it in standard mode this whole time when I can have it in high frame rate mode. That's crazy. And as soon as I turned that off, I immediately felt way better. My sense felt way smoother. Everything just came together way better. I still have a lot to learn, but need a wider selection to help counter the enemies, since obviously me playing a few comfort characters was not helping, giving my teammates are super inconsistent. And that's when I discovered Namor. I started mainly playing him on day 4 and immediately started doing better. The issues of me not putting numbers up was finally over. I was getting many more MVPs and SVPs too, which is kind of unfortunate, but still, you know, it's better than nothing. I lose less points when I get SVPs, so that's definitely nice. And for those that are this point in the video wondering if I got interesting teammates, well, I can't obviously put on YouTube none of the ones where they say we'll call it gamer words, but I've definitely had my fair share of interesting teammates screaming in the microphone.
Like more, but it's just a palette swap. The other one is like.
Bro, he yapping loud as.
I'm because I used to name I used to
phone,
do a name. You know,
holy. And just in day 4 alone, I went from stuck silver 2 the whole way up to gold 2 in half the amount of time that I played yesterday. It literally, I mean, it was super fast, not gonna lie. With these methods, I had high hopes. And honestly, looking back at this now, I don't really understand why I didn't play more Doctor Strange. But either way, I mean, I was still doing really good. Neymar, I had so many games that looked like this one right here with Neymar. It's kind of crazy to think about. Like, I was having so much more fun with him too, but obviously I did still have a lot to learn. And there is more characters that are better than him, for sure. It is a lot of situational stuff too. I'm definitely aware of that. But this is where my mindset was at the given time. And if you're wondering what we did at the start of each of these days, I just feel like it's important for the people that are watching this trying to get better. I 100% every day have like a little routine, whether it's a quick match or whatever. I think for these 2 days, I did a little bit of range. Day 4, I messed around in range with Neymar or Namor. I switched the targets to Luna Snow, and I just practiced for a solid like 5-10 minutes before I went into a game, just to keep myself warm, you know, before I started actually going. And then I played a quick match, and then went into the actual games. And with all this being said, I was hoping for slightly quicker progression through the ranks. I can't complain. We're still gaining, and that's at the end of the day all that matters. Day 5 and 6. And day 5 was pretty simple. We started out just like any other day. We did our little range session, talked to chat, and then eventually moved on to playing. And I did not, straight from first game till, like, obviously you'll see, I went on a 9 MVP streak. I think there was 2 SVPs in there, but still, I mean, to be MVP of your team every single game for that many games definitely made me feel so good. Granted, I hard picked Namor the whole time, and I knew that was going to be an issue eventually, but for the time being, it definitely soared me the whole way through. I went from gold 2 the whole way up to plat 3 just by simply playing Namor and just playing to his strengths. It completely prevented all dive. Now, I will say there was some good dive characters that completely, it didn't even matter if I was doing my job right. Like, I needed assistance taking him out from another DPS, and if I didn't get that, it was just rough. But anyway, went really well, and we got a huge MVP streak, which made me feel pretty good. And that led into day 6, which was a slow climb after day 5, but we still got to P2, and I figured to use the remainder of the time in Platinum to test out some characters that I might not otherwise get to test or want to test when I'm in harder lobbies, and I'm assuming this is where the struggle is going to start. So I tested out Groot, tested out Thor, tested out Moon Knight, tested out Storm, Iron Fist, Hawkeye, and honestly just a bunch of other characters to try to just learn counters and know them, like at least get comfortable enough on them so that way if I needed to switch I could, you know. I didn't want to be a one trick, even though I was definitely rocking Namor. I'm going to rock Namor until I have to quit. And out of all them characters I tested, the only one that truly stood out to me is Thor. I don't really know why, but he definitely was pretty nice. He was a lot of fun too. I felt like I could just bully people, and yeah, and that was pretty fun. Which all led to my first game in Diamond. The bans were kind of odd. I didn't really understand it. I didn't vote because I didn't want to, you know, screw anything up. But my teammates and the enemies ended up banning Cloak, Doctor Strange, Wolverine, and Luna. Luna. And off the bat, the lobby immediately felt way harder. The team fights felt way sweatier. It took way longer to get a full team wipe. Although it did feel a lot harder, it was also a lot easier to do my role. Like, when I was playing DPS, it felt a lot easier to focus the healers because the tanks were doing their job. My DPS was doing the job. My DPS teammate, was doing the job, including myself. And our healers were both staying alive, doing quite well. And to be honest, the healers were doing way better than any other rank. Like, it's actually kind of absurd how much better they're doing. I also noticed that teammates stopped leaving as much, and people would actually stick out the game, which really helped a ton. Like, granted, it is harder, I am losing more, but I was losing just as much beforehand because teammates kept leaving the game halfway through. So it kind of evened itself out. Day 7 and 8. There's a lot that happened over these next couple days. I started obviously in Diamond 3. I was happy, I was excited. It finally felt like I was on a grind, which was huge. Like, everyone started playing tighter together. Team fights felt more easier. Like I said in the previous day, it felt like killing the healers was actually beneficial. It wasn't just a cluster. You know what I mean? And I loved that. Like I said, it felt like I was on a grind. But in these 2 days were my entirety in Diamond. By the end of day 2, I was out of Diamond. Start right here where we starting off. I'm in Diamond 3. And thankfully, because the amount of teammates that have been freaking out where I can't put, like, I was excited to put some of that in the video because it was hilarious. But they say a lot of words that would get this video taken down probably pretty fast. And on top of that, then I would get teammates who would hard pick healer and then do 3,000 healing the whole game. Like, and I'm talking like a full length game where we get 3 and the enemies get just about 3 or vice versa or whatever the case. Like, and that's kind of ridiculous to me. Like, 3k healing in the whole game, and I don't have a screenshot of it, but I really wish I would have clipped that, bro, because I've had so many games like that. It's actually ridiculous. But anywho, given all this, I also could finally feel like I've seen myself improving. Like I did, I am going to keep some gameplay in here. I don't want to bore anybody with gameplay. I want it to all be informative, but I also want people to enjoy it. But like this, for example, this game that I'm showing right now with Neymar, I had 48 kills and didn't die a single time. which is crazy for sure, but it's also shout out to the teammates. Like, my healers were doing their part, my tanks were doing their part, me as a DPS, I was doing my part, so it all worked out in the end. And I'd also have games where I would die way more than 0 times. Like, I would die 10 plus times. So, I guess there's back and forth with that situation. I also did happen to find a couple other characters that were super beneficial to this time in Diamond 3 going into Diamond 2. And these characters were Storm. Storm was kind of cool. I really liked how whenever the healers would like use their ults, then I could go in with my ult. Or I could use it to bait the healers ult out, but I would use my ult to go back and kill all the squishies in their backline. So, like, obviously I'm going for healers, because that's the most important, but worst case scenario, if I can't get the healer because they escape or whatever, I could try to get the DPS, or, you know, tank if they're low, etc, etc. And then the other character that I really liked was Bucky. Now, Bucky's a little controversial. He's the most picked duelist right now, even after the mid-season update, which did happen at this time. He's really good for literally taking someone. Like, you can take a healer from the enemy's backline and bring it right into the front line, and if your teammates are coordinated enough, y'all can just get the kill really quick, which is super beneficial. Obviously, I love it. And all that led into me finally hitting Diamond 2. Now, granted, I wasn't in Diamond 3 for too terribly long, but it felt really good to still be climbing in Diamond 2. And then also right around this time is exactly when I started abusing, which I think everybody should. If you're looking for this for informative information and like how to help yourself, please use the avoid teammate button. That thing has literally saved me so many games. Like, I would get teammates back to back that would, like I would say, would hard pick healer, do 3k healing the whole game, or would pick DPS and be negative the whole game. Like, either way, I would use it to avoid these people, and it literally, I'm sure, saved me so many games in a row. So I definitely highly recommend that. And at this point, I was definitely struggling. I needed another character to start maining in tank class, because I noticed there was so many situations where we just didn't have a tank. No one was filling tank, no one wanted to play tank. And to be honest, I didn't really hate tank, but as I was looking down through leaderboards, I found Thor. Now, it took me a little bit to master him, but this game in the background, for example, I was MVP with 40 kills and I think like only a few deaths. And he helped a ton. Like, you could literally bully the shit out of the enemy team. Like, you could just push him across the map. His survivability was nice. The only issue I was having is I was struggling when to use his 3-hammer ability, because I noticed I would end up popping it and then immediately dying. So it was hard for me to, like, I kind of tried to wait until my teammates were behind me. But, like, as you can see right here, you can literally just push a tank around wherever. The only character that's really a counter to him being able to move around is the Thing. But really, at this point, not many people are playing him. And the only other issue I would honestly have with Thor is when I'd get a little bit ahead of myself, like I did right here. Of course, that fucking wall's there. Even with games like that, this 40 kill game with Thor actually got me the whole way up to Diamond 1. Now, granted, there was other wins in between, but just using the strategies that I've talked about with Thor and then with Namor, and obviously, you know, there's some games where you can't do nothing. If every single one of your teammates are just having a rough game, there's not much you can do. But using these same strategies, not only did I get up to Diamond 1, it brought me the whole way into Grand Master 3. Or, well, literally 1 point away from it. Oh my goddamn, I'm 1 point away. If that ain't a fucking slap in the fucking face, bro. Haha, that ain't funny, bro. That's fucked. And 99 out of 100. Bro, they fucking with me now. Left alive. Then finally, for the rank up into GM3 to end off day number 8. If I don't gain 1 point from that, now that's ridiculous. And there we go. Sheesh, Grandmaster 3. Higher than 90.49% of players. Sheesh, for real. The next rank, I'll be really proud of myself if I manage to hit. I'm not gonna lie. Day 9 through 14. So right off the bat on day 9, upon hitting GM3, I didn't lose a single game until GM2, and I only lost 2 games the whole way up to just under GM1, and I was like, dude, this is awesome. I was like, this is what it's like to get good teammates. This is what it's like to work well with a team. This, like, obviously I'm doing good enough if we're gaining like this and nothing's going wrong, until my luck finally ran out. And not only did I drop the whole way back down to GM3, but I dropped the whole way back down to bottom of Diamond 1, which was super demotivating and super annoying. And obviously it made me feel like I had to take a step back, which is exactly what I did. I spent a few hours, I went into range, messed around, make sure my aim was right. I spent hours watching the tapes, and by tapes I mean high ranked players like top 10 on leaderboard, how they're playing, what they're doing that might be a little bit different, how they're playing with their team, etc, etc. And I knew it was getting harder, so I also played a ton of quick matches with different characters to try to just understand as many people as I could and at least know their abilities, so that way I knew better how to counter them. But what I wasn't prepared for, however, is to be stuck in this toxic cycle of GM3, not only for this session specifically, but for literally the next 3-4 days I played. And it was just back up to GM2, and then the whole way back down to Diamond 1, and then GM2, then the whole way back down to Diamond 1, and this happened over and over and over and over again for literally, like I said, the next 4 days. And I know this is quite a few days grouped up into a little session, or like a little statement, but that's literally what it was. I mean, that's as simple as it was. I was stuck. I had no idea what to do. I was, of course, each of these days taking time to, learn, practice, whether that's in range, whether that's watching the high ranked players, as I just said. I would take that time to do that. With that being said, I finally hit GM2. Rather than immediately requeuing into a match, I decided to take a step back, and I realized a lot of my games were just botched to begin with. People would refuse to pick roles. Then when they would pick roles, I literally had a Jeff swallow me and another teammate and spit us off the map just because he didn't want to play healer. I had a Loki who would literally put the clones down and go invisible and sit in a corner behind him. And I'm assuming it was intentional. Now granted, I would report these people and they would end up getting banned, but I didn't get no benefit from it. I completely took the neg and had to just suck it up, I guess. So that's exactly what I did. And I normally would fill healer because of this. I was like, alright, if I'm going to have teammates do this, I'm going to fill healer. But then the issue I had is then everybody else isn't doing their job. And it's like, and then I'm struggling to do my job. And as I got more demotivated every time I picked healer, I had games where I would have 40,000 healing and we would still lose. So I eventually did. I'll admit I was doing a horrible job at healing, which made me think maybe I need to go back to tank whenever we need a fill, or too many people are trying to play DPS, which is what I did. And this is the part in the video where I was talking about at the start where Doctor Strange comes back in, and that's who I started playing. I started playing a little bit more Doctor Strange, and even though he did help a ton, and I was finally, now I will admit, once I started playing him, I definitely started gaining a bit. He was very nice to counter certain people. He was very nice to kill the healers and progress, even if I didn't have the greatest teammate support, you know what I mean? I even had games with him though where it didn't matter if I was doing everything right. I was SVP while 3 and 6. Like, I don't even know what I can do at that point. Some games are just, can't really do much. And to give a bit of insight on how I'd go about improving after being stuck for days, it wasn't necessarily about, now granted it did help a ton watching the tapes, practicing in range, playing in quick play, all that did help a ton. But what I felt helped the most is trying not to stick to a specific playstyle and trying to become more versatile with my different teammates. And I mean that as in just being flexible. Like, if my teammates want to play close knit, then play close knit. If the enemies are diving a lot and my healers are struggling, maybe I play a little bit further back with my teammates to try to move up together. Or if my teammates are all getting angles and we're doing really good, my DPS are doing their job, then maybe I'll try to push their line back as far as possible. And doing all that helped a ton. And I finally started gaining in GM2.
Day 15 and 16.
So starting day 15 with great confidence from finally starting to gain and not going the whole way back down to Diamond 1 before I start to gain was really nice. I was super hyped getting into the day. Even though I'm not getting MVP as much as I had normally, I'm still getting crazy value with my ult, and I literally see it in the gameplay of my ultimates and just the certain abilities I use. Even just the straight, whip, shield, shoot whip, shoot shield. Just using those strategies, I see it getting great value, especially in my ultimates, because if I can use my ultimate and take out their healers, as long as my DPS sees that and starts pelting whoever, I mean, we can wipe the team real quick and get pretty big momentum from it. And now, like I said, I'm not getting MVP as much, but I am seeing these completely change the game fights, which is huge. And also, to help understand how I play Strange, even though I do have the gameplay in the background, I try to farm the ult off the tanks until I see an opening to go for a healer. And if I'm unable to find that opening, then I keep damaging the tanks and try to keep the tanks and the different DPS away from my teammates, specifically my healers, while still farming my ultimate. And then obviously once I get my ultimate, I try to dive into the healers, which will either 1, bait their ultimate out and get a heal out of the way, or 2, I'll catch the healers off guard and normally can take one or both out with me at the same time, which obviously gives us huge momentum. And using these strategies, I was able to slide right into GM1 to end the day off, and going into day 16 led to even more excitement because I knew if I had a really good session, I was 100% going to get Celestial today, and this was the rank where I said I would be proud of myself if I got to. So it was kind of a big goal for me, even though it's really, I know some people hit it with ease, stacking and everything, but nonetheless, I was still pretty excited about it. And not only did I hit Celestial, but we hit it off of a 6-game win streak. I guess it's still technically a 5-win streak because I didn't, which honestly made me feel pretty great. And not only did we hit Celestial, sheesh. Well, shit, we did it, fellas. We did it. 5-win streak to Celestial, bro. Oh, but I even started and continued to gain in Celestial. Hey, and we climbing in Celestial already, bro? 6-win streak? Bro, what is happening? 7 if you include the quick play. But with all that being said, this is where we ended this ranked journey. Now, granted, I definitely feel like I can go higher, but there is a few videos that I wanted to get done for Apex Legends, which is my main game. For those who don't know me from Apex, I'm currently #1 Vantage in the world over there. Also held and hold the world record for most kills in a single season. Shout out to the healers and I streamed it all and did all that fun stuff. So there's definitely some cool content on my page if you want to check it out. But with that being said, I greatly appreciate you guys. This video took me a long time to make. This is my first time ever making a video this big. I went through over 50 hours of footage. It was kind of crazy. So if you guys would do me a huge favor and leave a like and subscribe down below, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, if you guys want to see me continue this journey, I am more than willing to try to finish it and try to get the whole way up to even top 500 if I can, but I'll have to wait for a split and all that. But I'll do my best. Whatever you guys would like, let me know down in the comments below. If you guys like this type of content and like this journey, I'm more than willing to do it on different games, so let me know the game you want down in the comments below. Without further ado, I appreciate every one of you guys. Give me feedback in the comments. I appreciate it. And I'll catch y'all in the next video, yo. Peace.